Very good morning to all the participants. Let me welcome all of you to the final day of our 5-day online workshop on eYantra Spark 5 robotics. Before I proceed, let me take this opportunity to wish all of you happy Varma Lakshmi festival and happy Bakrid festival. I hope you have a good one. Okay, so today we'll be discussing about white line follower robot. And I am Rohit K, Assistant Professor and eYantra Robotics and Embedded Systems Lab Coordinator, ECE VVCE Mysuru. So the contents of my presentation today includes introduction to line follower robot. What is the objective of this particular experiment, and what are the sensors used in this experiment? Possible cases discussion conceptually. What is the ideal case for a line follower robot? Then possible cases we'll encounter practically. Then we'll discuss about program skeleton followed by program, and then demo video of the same, quiz, and few projects that you can explore based on this particular experiment. Okay, so before we proceed, let us look at the introduction video. So kindly pay attention. There's a very nice video which gives you the actual application example of line follower robot in India in one of the garment factories. So you can see this robot is following black line, and if some obstacle comes in between, robot will stop. Robot is following the black line that they have put, and it will proceed. It can also be manually controlled. So here they have a switch. They'll manually stop it, and they'll load the goods. Okay, maybe next stage, I guess. Yeah. Now you can see there is a manual control switch here. There is a manual control switch here. So when they press this switch, robot will stop so that they can load the materials on top of robot. After that, they'll press that button, and then robot will move. So that is the end of the line. So this is one of the examples of line follower robot in one of the garment factories. Okay, another example is in a bar and restaurant for serving drinks. So the bartender is drawing the line and is testing whether the robot is following the path or not. Then he will load the drink on top of this robot. So the drink is on top of robot now. Then there is an obstacle detection sensor. So when a person puts their hand, obstacle is detected and it will stop, and then robot will move forward. Not only that, when a robot is holding a drink and it is moving around in a bar, it is a very attractive thing for the customers, and they'll be influenced to buy a drink just to have this experience of getting served by a robot. So you can use robot for so many applications. It only depends on your imagination. So the robot will circle around to attract customers, and most of the customers look at this and they feel happy, and few of them do order drink just to experience how a robot will serve their drink, and then it will go and stay near the waiter. So with this background, let us proceed to what we are going to do in this particular experiment. Along with those two examples, you can see line follower robots are used in so many other applications. A classic example is in Jurassic Park movie. First part, you can see there is a car. So you have a white line here. So this car will propagate or progress in this particular white, on top of this particular white line. Then robots, particularly line follower robots, are used extensively in warehouses. These are the images taken from Amazon warehouse, and these robots are also used in many restaurants. And many of our student projects also involve a lot of line follower robot design. It may be a black line follower robot or white line follower robot. A lot of competitions also expects you to design a line follower robot. It may be a white line follower robot or a black line follower robot. Okay. So here the objective of line follower robot is to propagate in this particular track that we have. You can see here in the center we have white color, and on the left side and right side we have black color. So a line follower robot is basically an autonomous robot which either follows black line or white line. Okay, so based on our application, we call it as white line follower robot or black line follower robot. Okay, so our objective is to design or program our robot to progress in this particular track. Okay, in order to accomplish this, we will be making use of 4 important sensors, namely 3 white line sensors and 1 center proximity sensor. So here you can see we have white line sensors, right white line sensor, center white line sensor, and left white line sensor. The reason why they are called white line sensor or sensors is because most of our roads will have white color at the center, and at the left side and right side we will have black color. Thus the general label that people have given is white line sensor. It does not mean that it can not be used for sensing black color, since most of our roads will have white color at the center and black colors on the left side and right side. They have labeled it as white line sensors, but it can also be used to sense black color or any other colors. Then we'll be using center IR proximity sensor for detecting the obstacle which may be present in front of our robot. Okay, so this is the close-up view of white line sensors that we have: right, center, and left white line sensor. You can see here white line sensor is a pair of 2 devices. One is the transmitter, another is the receiver, and these are the corresponding addresses: left white line sensor, center white line sensor, and right white line sensor. Addresses are 3, 4, and 5. Then let us look at how these white line sensors capture the reflection from a particular light. You can see here white line sensor, as I said, will have transmitter and receiver. So this LED acts like a transmitter. It will radiate IR signals, and if there is some surface in front of it, that surface will reflect the radiation, and that radiation is captured by this receiver, which is a photodiode. Okay, so here in this example, you can see that if I have, say, yellow color, IR radiation will hit this yellow colored surface and it will be reflected back to PIN diode. Depending on the color surface, the reflection will vary. Okay, and here you can see if we have black surface, the black color will almost absorb the radiation and the reflection is almost nil. Okay, now when I compare this with black color and white color, you can see if I have a white color surface and if I am radiating IR signals, white color surface will have maximum reflection, and black color surface, you can see, will have maximum absorption. That means there is no reflection if the surface is of black color, and if there is if we have white color, then we will have maximum reflection from that particular surface. So this is the principle based on which our robot is going to move or take decision whether to move forward, left or right, or to stop. Okay, so what we are going to do in this particular line follower robot is we are going to read the surface color data from 3 white line sensors continuously. Right, so here robot needs to understand what is the color that is present in front of it. In order to accomplish this, we have to perform testing. So this is the track that we have in our college, and this is the robot. Now I've tested this in my residence. When I place SparkFire robot on top of black color line, you can see the values. Here the white line sensors are underneath this LCD. So it is at the bottom of this LCD, and look at the color values that I'm getting for black color. If it is a black color, at the bottom the reflected values or the absorbed values is around 150. So if you take the average of these values, it will be 150. So if I am getting values somewhere around 150, I can consider that as black color. Now I'll place my robot on top of white color and look at the values that I'm receiving. Look at the reflected values. It is around 28, 18 and 48. So it is roughly around 30 on an average. The maximum value that I am getting is 50. Okay, so that is for white color. Now I have a question, that is, can I have a threshold to differentiate black color and white color? If the value for black color, maximum value of black color is say 170 and the maximum value for white color is say 50, can I have a threshold value in between to differentiate white color and black color? Yes. Here I can have threshold value of 100, isn't it? If I have a threshold value of 100 and if my value received is less than 100, I can consider that as white color. If my value received is greater than 100, I can consider that as black color. So this is extremely important when we are going to design line follower robot, particularly white line follower robot. So threshold here we are considering is 100. If the value received by the sensor is greater than threshold, we'll consider that as black. If the value reflected is less than the threshold, that is 100, we'll consider that as black. So please do remember this. This will be used in our main program. Okay, so the threshold to differentiate black color and white color is 100. If the value is greater than threshold, we'll consider that as black color. If the value is less than the threshold, we'll consider that as white color. I hope this is clear to everyone. So in the white line sensor robot, the process is first we'll read the surface color data from 3 white line sensors continuously. These values are analog in nature, so obviously we have to convert that to digital. So we'll be using ADC. Then these ADC values goes to microcontroller at Mega 16. At Mega 16 processes the values received, and accordingly it will give command to the motor whether to move forward, left or right. Okay. Now we have monitored the color received and our robot is ready to move forward, but all of a sudden an obstacle comes in between our path or in front of our robot. When an obstacle comes in front of our robot, what should a robot do? Obviously, it cannot move forward, because if it moves forward, it will collide with the obstacle, and that will cause damage to the robot. So obviously, when an obstacle is present in front of our robot, the robot should sense it and stop its movement immediately, right? Thus, we have to have a mechanism to detect the presence of an obstacle in front of our robot, isn't it? In order to accomplish that, we will be making use of the center IR proximity sensor. So this is the center IR proximity sensor. The working principle is more or less similar to the white line sensor. This will transmit IR radiation. This will capture the reflection. Okay, but this is a proximity sensor. That means only when the obstacle is near its proximity, that is within a range of 8 to 10 centimeter, only then it can detect the presence of an obstacle, right? And here, since we are using center IR proximity sensor, the address for the same is 1. Okay, so this is extremely useful and important for identifying the presence of obstacle in front of it. So what do? We continuously monitor the obstacle in front of robot by using center IR proximity sensor, right? So we have tested this also. So here you can see this is the robot. This is the value received by center IR proximity sensor. You can see in front of our robot there is no obstacle. If there is no obstacle, look at the value received. It is 172 when there is no obstacle. When I keep my hand at a distance of say 5 centimeter or 3 to 4 centimeters away, look at the value, or the value reflected or received. It is around 143, right? This is when obstacle is detected. Okay, and before I proceed, let me clarify this. The values captured by our infrared sensors depend on the light intensity of our environment. I have tested these things in my residence, and these are the values that I have captured. If you test your robot in a slightly brighter environment, your values may slightly vary, right? So before you deploy your robot, you must perform testing, because the environment plays a significant factor in deciding the threshold values. Okay, because based on the environment, the reflection of white color and the reflection of black color will definitely vary. So you have to perform testing, only then you have to use appropriate threshold values. Okay, now when there is no obstacle, the value received is 172. When there is an obstacle, the value received is 143, right? Now, to have a threshold which can identify the presence of obstacle and no obstacle, I can consider the value as say 150, right? I can consider value as 150. If the value is greater than 150, if the value is greater than 150, that means there is no obstacle. If the value is less than 150, it means we have detected obstacle. Is this clear? Let me repeat this. This is very, very important. If there is no obstacle, I'll give the threshold as 150. If the value received is greater than 150, then there is no obstacle. If the value received is less than 150, then there is obstacle. Okay, so let me call this threshold as THO, O for obstacle detection. And if the value received is greater than TH, that means there is no obstacle. If the value received is less than TH, then we have detected obstacle. Is this clear? This is very, very important while detecting obstacle. Okay, and we'll be using this in our main program. Okay, so before I proceed, let me repeat this. This is very important, because this is the working principle based on which our robot will move forward or stop. For detecting black color and white color, we'll be using threshold of 100. If the value received is greater than TH or threshold 100, we'll consider that as black. If the value received is less than threshold by the white line sensor, we'll consider the color as white. This is with regard to white line sensors. Okay, similarly, coming to IR proximity sensor, for detecting obstacle, we'll be considering threshold THO as 150. If the value received by this sensor is greater than 150, it means no obstacle. If the value received is less than THO, it should be THO, obstacle is detected. Okay. Right. So with that understanding, let us look at the processes involved in the white line sensor robot. We have to continuously read the data from 3 white line sensors and center IR proximity sensor continuously. Of course, these are analog values. I'll give that to ADC, which will convert that into digital format, and it is given to microcontroller. Microcontroller will take decision, perform processing based on the values received, and will give command to the motor to take appropriate decision, right? In order to accomplish this, we'll be making use of many of the programs that we have already discussed. We'll be using ADC program, we'll be using motion control program, and when an obstacle is detected, I want to turn on the buzzer to indicate that an obstacle is detected. So I'll be using buzzer program. I'll also be using LCD program in the testing phase to read the threshold, to read the values reflected by white line sensor and IR proximity sensor, so that I can decide my threshold values. Okay. After that, there is no need for using LCD program in this white line follower robot. Okay. It is very important that you use it during the testing phase. Okay. Now, let us look at the possible cases conceptually, right? So if you understand the concept of all the possible cases, you can easily correlate that with the practical possible cases that we are going to encounter, based on which our program is written. Okay. So this is what we want to accomplish. Our robot should move in this straight path. So in order to understand what are the possible cases we may encounter, so let me consider an example. So you have a car here, okay, so which has to go in the forward direction. The direction of motion is shown here. Suddenly in front of your car, a truck comes and stands. Now, what is your action? Will you move forward or will you stop? You can give your answers in the chat box. Will you go forward or will you stop? Please give your answers in the chat box. Yes, Brunda, Satish, Jeevan, Kulsam, Kiran. Okay, Bharti, yes. You are right. Obviously, when an obstacle comes in and stands in front of your vehicle, you should stop, or else you will collide and that will cause damage. So you will stop because obstacle is detected, right? Now the obstacle disappears. Now there is no obstacle and the road is clear, and your car is located at the center of the road. Now what is your action? What will you do? Will you stay there or will you move forward? Give your answers in the chat box. So obviously now you will move forward, isn't it? You will move forward, right? So that's the first case. Then you will be moving forward, and after driving for some distance, suddenly your car is at this position. Now it has slightly gone to the right hand side. Now tell me, what is the course of action that you will take? Your car has gone slightly to the right hand side. Now what will you tell your car? Should it go straight or should it go right or should it come left? Give your answers in the left chat box. Your car is slightly right side. Yes, many of you are answering. So Sneha, Sunita, yes, you will make a soft left, isn't it? Because the car has gone to the right hand side just that little bit. So you'll give the command as soft left, right? Now next case, your car has gone a bit more towards right hand side. Now what is the action you will take? Is it soft left or hard left? Yes. So Tejasri, Kiran, Kulsam, so Sunita, okay. So Sarisha, okay. Brunda, good. So the command that you're going to give is hard left, okay. Next. Now, if this is the position of your car, what is the action you're going to take? What is the action you're going to take? That's right. Very good. Lasya, Tejasri, Kiran, Sarisha. So the action that you're going to take is soft right. That's right. Good. Next, if this is the position of your car, what is the action you're going to take? Very good. Kiran, Lasya, Tejasri. So the action is hard right. Is this clear? So these are the possible cases that we have discussed conceptually. Now let us go for understanding and realizing this practically. Okay. I hope it is clear till now. Okay. So ideally, what should be the scenario if I want to move my robot in the forward direction? Ideally, your center proximity sensor, which is used for detecting obstacle, should not detect obstacle. That means the value received by this IR proximity sensor, center IR proximity sensor, should be greater than the threshold. When the value is greater than the threshold, it means there is no obstacle detected. Then your white line sensor should sense these values: L for left white line sensor or left sensor, C for center line sensor, R for right sensor. If I want to move forward, left sensor should detect black color, center should detect white color, right should detect black color. If this is the scenario, then what is the action that I'm going to take? I will move my robot in the forward direction. Okay. Now, how can I capture this condition in my program? How can I capture this condition in my program? You can see here, L, left sensor, is detecting black color. That means L is obviously greater than threshold. L is greater than threshold. C is detecting white color. That means C is less than threshold. If you remember, I told this in couple of slides earlier to this. And then R is detecting black color, so it is greater than threshold. So I'll be using this particular command in my program. L is greater than threshold. Why did I write L greater than threshold? Because it is detecting black color. If you want to detect black color, you'll consider greater than threshold, and center should detect white color. That means it is less than threshold, and R should detect black color. That means it should be greater than threshold. Okay, so this is the ideal case. Now let us come to the practical cases we are going to encounter. So practical possible cases, case 0. Case 0. Case 0. Okay. So this is the placement of your robot. And in front of your robot, there is a obstacle. When there is an obstacle, your center IR proximity sensor will sense it. When the sensor senses the obstacle, the value received will be less than the threshold. When this happens, what is the action? So when an obstacle is detected, we are going to stop our robot, and we will also turn on our buzzer. Okay, so before we even look at the values captured by white line sensors, the first thing that we'll be looking at is whether an obstacle is present or not. When an obstacle is present, all you have to do is stop your robot and turn on your buzzer. And how will you capture this? By looking at the values received by center IR proximity sensor. If the value received is less than the threshold that we have considered as, say, 150, obstacle is detected. If the value received is greater than 150, that means there is no obstacle. So that's about case 0. Okay. Now in case 1, I've already discussed the possible cases conceptually. I want you to give me the answers on what actions we should take based on the values that you see. Okay, so now there is no obstacle, and these are the values detected by our white line sensor. Ideally, as I told you a couple of slides ago, ideally L should detect black, C should detect white, and R should detect black. But our robot is in this position. Tell me, what is the action I should take now? You can give your answers in the chat box. Tell me, is it hard right or soft right? Tell me it is whether it is hard right or soft right. Yes, Sangamesh, okay, Sinchana, Juveria Khan, okay, Tejashri, Sunita, yes, Bharti, yes, Prakruti, Kulsam, correct. So the action that we will be taking is hard right, because our robot has gone too much to the left hand side. So to bring it back to the normal position, we have to give the action as hard right. Now to capture this scenario, what should be the condition? What should be the comparison condition? L is greater than TH, C is also greater than TH, R is less than TH, right? So we'll be capturing this in case 1 by using this command. L is greater than TH for black color, and C is greater than TH, it is black color, and R is less than TH because it is white color. This command is very important because this is the command that we'll be using in our main program. Okay, if you understand this diagram, you can easily write this command. There is no need to remember or mug this up. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. So already a few of you have given the answer. Sunita, Kulsum. Okay, that's good. Very good. The only thing is in between you should add ampersand. It means that and only when these three cases are satisfied, we will be taking this particular action. So in between you should put ampersand and. Okay, so that's about case 1. Now moving on to case 2. So observe the position of the sensors and their values and tell me what is the action I should take. Left is detecting black, center white, right is white. What is the action we should take? Yes, many of you are giving answers. Very good. Anjana, Chiveria, Sarika. Okay. So it is soft right. That's right. Action is soft right. Now, what is the condition? Can you type the condition? What is the condition to trace or detect this particular action? L is black color. That means L should be greater than. L is greater than TH, isn't it? L is greater than TH and yes, L is greater than, write the condition. L is greater than TH. Yes, Sunita has given the answer. L is greater than TH and C is less than TH and R is also less than TH. Very good. Amok, Sangamesh, okay, Kulsum are giving the answers. That's good. So just by looking at the diagram, you should be able to identify how to capture this particular scenario. So case 2, since we have black color, L is greater than TH, and since C is detecting white color, it is less than TH, and since R is detecting white color, it is less than TH. Okay. Now case 3. Now left sensor is detecting black, center sensor is detecting white, right sensor is detecting black. Now what is the action we should take? Give your answers in the chat box. What is the action we should take? Yes, Prajwal, Lasya, Sunita. Okay, that's good. So the action that we will be taking is move forward. Very good. What is the condition? What is the condition to capture this? What is the condition to capture this? What is the condition to capture this? L greater than, yes, Vishal has given the answer. Prajwal, okay. So Prajwal has given the answer. So I need the answers from some more participants, please. So Kulsum, okay, that's good. Okay, Prakruti, Sunita, Brunda, Sangamesh, that's good. So L is detecting black, so obviously it is greater than TH, and C is detecting white, so it will be less than TH, and R is detecting black, so it will be greater than TH. I hope this is clear to you because we will be using all these things in our main program. Okay, and what is this case indicating? This is indicating our ideal case scenario. Our ideal case scenario is there should be no obstacle and our left sensor should detect black, right, center sensor should detect white, and right sensor should detect black. If this happens, we can move forward. Okay. So let's go to next case, case 4. Now observe the position of the robot and the color detected by the white line sensors and tell me the action that we should take. Yes. So Kulsum is given the answer. So Rachana has given the answer. Okay. So other participants also please chip in, give me your answers. Okay, Nirmala, okay, Kavya, Jiveria Khan, Jagat. Yes, that's right. So the action that we'll be taking is hard left, right? Now, what is the condition? What are the conditions to capture this? What are the conditions? Hema Priya, okay. Riteshwar is given the answer. Vishal Bharadwaj is giving the answer. Jeevan, okay. So L should be less than TH and C greater than TH and R greater than TH. Very good. Kiran, Kulsum, Sneha. Okay, very good. So this is the condition. So if we detect this condition, the action that we'll be taking is hard left. Okay. Jagat. Okay, Kavya BS has also given the right answer. Then case 5. So this is case 5. And this is the position of our robot and corresponding colors detected. Now tell me what is the course of action? Yes, Jagat, Vishal, okay, Kiran, Sneha, Sunita, Prakruti, Kulsum, Kavya, so are all giving the right answers. Yes, that's right. Nirmala, okay, Sarisha, okay. So the action that we'll take is soft left. Now tell me what are the conditions? What is the condition? How can you capture this? L, what are the conditions? L less than TH, C less than TH, and R greater than TH. Very good. So Karthik, Jagat, Vishal, Jeevan, Prakruti. Okay, very good. So many of you have given the right answers, right? So if this happens, the action that we'll take is soft left, right? Next, case 6. Now this is an interesting case. Now all the 3 white line sensors are detecting white color. Now tell me what should be my course of action. What should be my course of action? They are detecting white color. Okay, so Vishal is saying rotate right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can either take a 90-degree rotation to the right side, or if I want to come back side, I can take a rotation of 90-degree to the left side. Okay, that can be done, but when all the 3 sensors are detecting same color, what we will do is we'll consider that as abnormality and we will stop our robot. Okay. And how can we detect this? And all the 3 are detecting white color. And what is the condition to detect this? Yes, you can rotate and you can go backwards. Again, that depends on our application. In our application, we want our robot to go forward. And if this scenario is detected, we will just stop our robot. We can also rotate it rightwards and we can go. And that is also a possibility, but here we are going to stop it. And to detect this, L, C, R, R will be, all will be less than TH. Then case 7, all the 3 sensors are detecting black color. Again, can you tell me what should be our course of action? We will stop. Okay, we will stop. And how can you capture this? L, C, R, all the 3 sensors will be greater than TH. Is this clear? I hope it is clear on how to capture the values. Okay, so all these cases will be considered in our main program. I hope it is clear to everyone. If you have any doubts in any of the cases that we have discussed so far, you can comment in the chat box. Is there any doubt or doubts in any of the cases that I've discussed so far? Yes, Brunda has given the answer. Kiran, okay, for case 7. Okay, so let me proceed. So that's about all the cases. Now, before I go to the program, let us quickly recap on what is the flow we are going to embrace. So we are going to continuously read the data from 3 white line sensors and center proximity sensor, and we'll give that to ADC because all these values are analog in nature. Then ADC will convert these analog values to digital and it is given to microcontroller. The microcontroller will process the values received and then it will accordingly give commands to our motor. To accomplish this, we'll be making use of ADC program, as I said, motion control program, buzzer program, and LCD program. And LCD program is particularly used during threshold selection phase. After that, you can afford to leave out this LCD program, but it is very important in the testing phase. Okay, so let me proceed. Okay, so before we look at the program, let us look at the skeleton. This is the skeleton that we have been following: header files, pin configuration and initialization, functions, and main program. Then now, before I go to white line follower robot, which is a slightly bigger program, which is a combination of almost all the concepts that we have discussed from day 1 to day 4, let me put out a program skeleton so that you can easily understand what are the functions that we will have in this big program. So first and foremost, we'll have header files. Then we will have pin configuration and initialization. What are the pin configuration and initializations we are going to have here? We'll be using ADC. So obviously I'll be using ADC pin configuration. Then I'll also use ADC initialization, right? Then I'll be using motor. So I'll have to configure motor. So I'll be using motion pin configuration. Then I'm also using buzzer to indicate the presence of an obstacle. So I'll be using buzzer pin configuration, right? Then under ADC, you have configured it, initialized it. Then what should you do? You should select a channel and perform conversion. So that program or part of program, which is a function, also comes in. Then if you want, you can use LCD print function for printing the values captured on top of your robot. Then you'll be using motor direction set function, then all the types of movements. Here we are going to use only around 6 to 7 movements: forward, soft left, hard left, soft right, hard right, and stop. Then we'll be using buzzer on and buzzer off function, and at the end we will have main program. Okay, so already all these programs are explained. Yesterday Chetan sir has beautifully explained ADC program, so that will be combined here. Earlier to that, Praveen sir has explained the motion control, and on the second day Sharat sir had explained buzzer control pin configuration and its functions. So I'm basically combining all those things along with the 4 sensors, 3 white line sensors and proximity sensor. Okay, so the program might look big, but if you go in a systematic way, it will become very easy. Okay, so header files will contain the operating frequency. So 7.32 is the operating frequency of the microcontroller that we have used, that is Atmega 16. Then AVR IO.h will include all the input output standard files in this header. Then delay, which we are going to use in our LCD program, and buzzer program functions are there inside this header file. Then we have used LCD program as a header file here. Okay, so then we are also using this macro, as I told you in the earlier slides. To detect black color and white color, the threshold that we are going to set is 100, right? So here I'm defining this macro TH as 100. So wherever I write TH, that will be replaced by 100, right? So this is used to identify whether the value received is less than threshold or greater than threshold. If the value received is greater than threshold TH, it means it is black color. If the value received is less than threshold, then it is white color. This is about white line sensors values. Similarly, I'll have a threshold for obstacle detection, and I've kept it as 150, right? So everything that I've discussed in the earlier slides, I've just combined it in this main program. Okay, so this is 150 and this is DHO. Then you will have pin configuration. First is ADC pin configuration. ADC port is port A, so you will configure that as input port by sending DDRA is equal to 00, and initially you will be sending 00 to keep pins in floating. Then ADC initialization, so ADC SRA will be 86. The reason why we give 86 is because we need to enable ADC, and we have to have a frequency scaling factor of 64. For that, these two pins ADPS2 to 0 will be 110, thus the value is 86. All these things are discussed yesterday. Then ADMux initially is 20. The reason why we select 20 is because our ADC value ranges from 0 to 5 volts, and ADLAR is kept 1. ADLAR is used to convert 10-bit result to 8-bit. Okay, we'll also be using ADMux at the later stages during the ADC conversion process. Then ADSAR is used to operate our ADC in the power saving mode. Then comes motion pin configuration. So motor pins are connected to the lower nibble of port B. So you'll be performing OR operation, and you'll be sending 0F. When this happens, your lower nibble will be configured as output, that is lower nibble of port B, without disturbing higher nibble contents by performing OR operation. Then initially you want to reset the contents, then you'll perform AND operation. Then pin number 4 and 5 of port D is used as enable, so you will be performing AND operation with 30 to enable pin 4 and 5 without disturbing other pins. Then the value that you will initialize for these pins are 30, that is 11 on pin 4 and 5 by sending 30 to port D along with OR operation, so that we do not disturb other pins, right? So all these things are discussed, just I'm recapping these things. Then buzzer will come. Buzzer is connected to pin number 3 of port C. So to configure that pin as output, will be performing DDRC OR with 8 without disturbing other pins. Then initially we want to turn off the buzzer, so we'll perform port C and with F7. So that's about buzzer. Then you will capture analog values. So to capture analog values, you will be selecting a particular channel address, say CH, and you'll give it to CH and 07. The output of this command will be such that only the desired channel is selected and other channels are reset, okay, or nullified. Then you'll push the value of CH to ADMux, because ADMux is the actual register that connects analog data to your microcontroller. Then you will start conversion by performing the ADC SRA RF with 40. Then you'll wait for the end of conversion. Once the conversion is done, the values are in ADCH. You'll move that to a variable A. Then you will reset ADIF flag to initiate next set of analog to digital conversion, and you will return the value A, right? Again, these things are all discussed yesterday. I'm just recapping the same. Then if you want to print something using your LED, you can use this particular function. Capture the address of the channel that you want to print, then select a certain row and column, then sensor address, and what is the size of your data, whether it is 3-bit data or 4-bit data. So you can use this function for displaying the data on your LCD, but this is optional. We are not going to use this in our actual line follower program. This is particularly useful during the testing phase, right? So that's about LCD print. Then you will be using motion set function. So you will be first resetting the motion lower nibble to 0. Then you will perform OR operation with direction, right? So you will have variety of functions such as forward, stop, left, and all. So you can see here, this motion set is the function that is present here. So this value 06 is taken as the argument here inside this, and this 06 will go to the place of direction. That means it will come here. So port B will be ORed with 06. So in this way, whatever value of motion set you send here, that will be ORed with port B, and the motor will move accordingly, right? So in this way, we have left motion, then right motion, soft left, soft right, and at the end stop. Okay, so that's about motion movements. Then we also have buzzer. To turn on the buzzer, we'll be performing port C OR with 8, and to turn off the buzzer, we'll be performing port C AND with reverse of 08. So reverse of 08 will be F7. How is it F7? If I write 08 in binary, it will become 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0. If you invert that, it will become 1 1 1 1 0 1 1, which is same as F7 in hexadecimal. Okay, so that's about the functions that we are going to use. Now coming to the main program. So this is something new that you probably would not have seen in our earlier discussions. So in the main program, as usual, we'll be calling the pin configuration. If I am using LCD, I can call LCD port config, ADC pin config, motion pin config, ADC initialization, LCD 4-bit initialization, LCD initialization. Then I'm using 4 sensor values here, that is left, center, and right white line sensor, and center IR proximity sensor. So I'll be defining those 4 sensor values by using this variable command. So unsigned character L is equal to 0 initially. Similarly, unsigned character C is equal to 0, which corresponds to center white line sensor. Unsigned character R is equal to 0, which corresponds to right white line sensor. Then unsigned character C underscore IPR corresponds to center IR proximity sensor. Okay, so these are the initializations that I'll make. Then I need to capture the value continuously. So I'll begin my while loop so that I can run this infinitely. Inside while loop, I'll capture the data from these sensors. If you recall to the earlier slides that I've discussed, the center IR proximity sensor ADC address is 1. So I'll be assigning here. Similarly, the left white line sensor address is 3. So I'll send 3. Center white line sensor address is 4. Right white line sensor address is 5. So this is used to get the data from these sensors. Okay, whatever address you send here, from that particular analog line, the data will be thrown to this particular variable. Okay, so the addresses of these sensors are 3, 4, 5 for white line sensors, and for center proximity sensor the address is 1. Okay, so moving on to the first step before we move our robot, as I've discussed in the conceptual possibilities, is to see whether there is some obstacle in front of our robot. If there is some obstacle in front of our robot, what should we do? Obviously, we should stop. So the first thing that we are going to do is use the center proximity sensor and see whether the value received or captured by this sensor is less than the threshold. If the value is less than the threshold, it means that the sensor has detected obstacle. When an obstacle is detected in front of the sensor, what is the command we are going to give? We are going to stop our robot, right? Not only stop, we will also turn on our buzzer and we will give a delay of 500 milliseconds or half a second. Then I'll turn off my buzzer for next 500 milliseconds, and the process continues as long as the obstacle is present in front of this center proximity sensor. As long as the center proximity sensor is capturing the values less than this particular threshold, we will continue to stay in this loop. Our robot will stop and buzzer will be on and off continuously. You can see this in the demo video that I'm going to play right after this program. Okay, so this is about case C. Now other cases will come into picture. We have already discussed all these cases, so all we are doing is capturing that condition and giving what is the course of action. If L is greater than TH and C is greater than TH and R is less than TH, what is the action we should take? Right, that means hard right, right? If L is greater than TH, C is less than TH and R is less than TH, we'll take soft right, right? Similarly, L greater than TH, C less than TH, R greater than TH. For case 3, can you give me what is the action we are going to take? Can you comment in the chat box what is the action we are going to take for case 3? L is greater than TH, C is less than TH and R is greater than TH. Please give your answers in the chat box. We have discussed all this. Yes, this is the ideal case scenario. L is greater than TH means L is detecting black color. C is less than TH, it means it is detecting white color, and R is greater than TH, it means it is detecting black color. When this happens, our robot should move forward. So many of you are giving the answers: Sarisha, Nirmala, Sinchana, Rohit, Prakruti, Hema, Sinchana. That's right. So we'll give the command to move forward, right? Similarly, what are the other cases we will have? We will have cases such as hard left. We will also have cases such as soft left. Then 2 abnormal cases when all the 3 sensors are detecting white color, that is less than TH, we will stop our robot. And when all the 3 sensors are detecting greater than TH, that is black color, even then we will stop our robot. Okay, so that's about our main program. Okay, so is there any doubt in the program that I have discussed so far? If you have any doubts at any part, you can ask me. I'll be more than happy to clarify. Is there any doubt? The only thing that you should keep in mind is you should go in a systematic way, right? So I showed you the skeleton of the program. So if you follow that skeleton, so you will not have any problem. Okay. You may have doubts in some of the functions. For that, you can revisit the videos for the sessions that done earlier or the PPT that we have sent, and your doubts will be clarified. If you have any more doubts, you can feel free to contact us anytime. Okay, so now let us look at the demo of this program. Okay, so I have loaded this program to the robot. So you can see it is moving in the forward direction. When an obstacle comes, it will stop and it will also give a buzzer sound. I don't know whether you are able to hear the buzzer sound. Anyways, we'll be sending this video, so right after this session, so you can hear the buzzer sound. So if there is an obstacle, robot will stop, or else it will move forward. Okay, so you can see when an obstacle is there, you are able to hear the buzzer sound, then I'll stop. Okay, so that's about the demo. And how do you dump this? We have already discussed that, isn't it? So you will write this program in the Atmel Studio, then build it, then you'll be able to generate text file, then you'll be dumping that onto your microcontroller using AVR bootloader. Okay, so the process is same that we have shown you for other experiments. Okay, so that's about the demo. Now, with this understanding, let us take up some questions. Okay, so here I'll be showing you some scenarios. I want you to give me the answers for these scenarios. Okay, so first question is, for the given scenario, that is a white line follower robot, predict the action and condition to capture the sensor values. So these are the sensor values detected. Tell me what is the action I should take. Give your answers in the chat box. What is the action I should take? Yes, Amo, Gume, okay, so Jeevan, Tirumalesh, okay, Sarisha, okay, Shivsagar, Prajwal, Jagat, that's right. So the action I should take is move forward. And what is the condition? How will you capture this condition? What is the condition? L should be, please write the condition. So action is yes, it is robot should move forward. What is the condition? How will you capture this? L is detecting black color, C white color, and R black color. So the condition is L is greater than TH and C is less than TH and R is greater than TH. Very good. So Karthik, Rachana, Kusum, okay, Amo, Ganjana, Shreya, okay, Jiveria, Khan, okay, Brunda, Satish, Tejasvi. That's right. So action is move forward and condition is L greater than TH, C less than TH, and R greater than TH. Good. Now let me consider a totally different scenario. Here we have black line follower robot, right? So far we have discussed only white line follower robot, but if you have understood white line follower robot, you can almost instantly capture the working of black line follower robot. But I want you to look at the data censored by the sensors and tell me what is the action and corresponding condition. Okay, so this is the black line follower robot and these are the values that I am sensing from my white line sensors. Tell me what is my course of action. For second question, what should be my course of action? Yes, Lasya, Prajwal, Prakruti, Mohan, Sneha, Kusum, Sinchana. Okay, good. So since this is a black line follower robot, my left sensor should detect white color, center sensor should detect black color, right sensor should detect white color. So if this happens, the action that I'm going to take is obviously move forward. And what is the condition? It's Prakriti, Karthik. Okay, already you are giving the answers. Good. So Jeevan, Kulsam, Sinchana. So the condition is L less than TH, C greater than TH, and R less than TH. Okay, so you can see if you design white line sensor, white line follower robot, you can very easily adapt to black line follower robot or any other color follower robot. Okay. Now moving on to next question. Given the scenario for a white line follower robot, predict action and condition. Okay. So this is the position of robot. Tell me what is the action and corresponding condition. Tell me the action that I should take. Yes. So Karthik, Lasya, Bunda, Satish, okay, Sangamesh, okay, Rakshit, Ume, Javeria, okay, yes, Yashaswini, Vishal. So that's right. So the action that we should take is hard, right? Very good. And what is the condition? How will you capture this? L greater than TH, C greater than TH, and R less than TH. Very good. Now, case 4, scenario 4, we have a black line follower robot, predict the action and condition. This is a black line follower robot and this is the position of my robot. Tell me what is the action I should take. For fourth question, what is the question action I should take? Yes, Sunita, okay, Prakriti, okay, Nikhil, Riteshwar, Sarisha, Yashaswini are giving the answers. That is hard left. That's right. That's right. Then what about condition? What is the condition? How will you capture this? L greater than TH, C less than TH, and R less than TH. Very good. Rachana, okay, Sangamesh, okay, Vishal, Prakruti, okay, very good, are giving the right answers. Okay. So this is the condition. Now, let me put you in a slightly difficult situation. Consider this scenario, which is a white line follower robot. You have your car, which is located at the center of the road, and suddenly a truck comes and stands like this. Now, when this happens, tell me what should be your action, course of action. Should you move forward? Should you move forward? Okay, few of you are saying, okay, soft left. Many of you are saying, okay, stop, stop, stop. Okay, that's right. Okay. Now, before we decide on whether to stop or move to the right, I have a question. That is, if this is the scenario, my car or robot will have a center IR proximity sensor, which is located at the center of the car. And since it is in the center and this obstacle is slightly to the left hand side, will my center proximity sensor detect the obstacle? Will my center IR proximity sensor detect the obstacle? Say yes or no. Yes, many of you are giving the right answers. Jeevan, okay, Kulsum, okay, Sneha, Karthik, that's right. My center IR proximity sensor will not detect any obstacle. Thus, I will think that there is no obstacle and I may give command to my car to move forward. When this happens, it will collide with the truck and we will have damage. To overcome this situation, what we can do is we can make use of 3 IR proximity sensors, right? Here the obstacle is at the left hand side. The truck may very well be on the right hand side, isn't it? So what we can do is we can use 3 IR proximity sensors. One at the left hand side, one at the left hand side here, one at the left hand side to detect some obstacle to the left hand side of the car or robot, and one at the center and one at the right hand side. So by using all these 3 proximity sensors, we can take decision whether obstacle is present in front of us or not. If there is an obstacle present in front of us, we have to stop. Okay, so these are the problems you'll encounter when you actually go for practical implementation of white line sensor, which you can overcome by using 3 IR proximity sensors to take decision whether an obstacle is present or not, and then appropriately you can move your robot. Okay, so that's about quiz. Is there any doubt? Yes, depends on the angle covered by IR. That's right, that's correct. We can also use sharp IR sensor. Some proximity sensors will have wider coverage angle, so that in that case one sensor will be enough. If we use 3 white line sensor, I'm talking about the performance of the sensors that are there on our Spark 5 robot, right? There are some IR proximity sensors which will have wider coverage area. So if that is the case, we can use a wider coverage or wider angle center proximity sensor, and that would be enough. But if the coverage area of your sensor is less, then we may have to use 3 proximity sensors. It all depends on the type of sensors and its coverage area or coverage angle. Okay. Now, with this, Brunda Satish is asking a question. Okay, but proximity IR sensor covers the area around it, can capture angle. Yes, each of the proximity sensors will have some coverage angle. Definitely, if the obstacle is present in that coverage area, it can detect it. If the obstacle is outside that particular coverage area or angle, it will not detect. So what do we do in our robot? In our cases, we will use all the 3 proximity sensors, left, center and right proximity sensors, so that we can conclusively capture the presence of obstacle. Okay. Yeah, if you have powerful proximity sensors which have very wide capturing capability, then one would be enough. Okay. Yes, Amog is asking, can we add other sensors? Yes, definitely you can add other sensors. When we had Chetan sir had discussed about ADC yesterday, and we have told you that we can remove some of the proximity sensors and we can use ultrasonic sensors. There are also some options wherein you can add other sensors, right? So we'll be teaching you how to add other sensors such as ultrasonic sensors, and how to use servo motors, stepper motors, how to use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth for controlling your robot in the next stage of our workshop, okay, which we are going to conduct in a month or two's time. Okay, so Prashant is asking a question: is using PWM, pulse width modulation, for line following the best case, or using GPIO? Yeah, it all depends on your objective, right? So if you are taking part in some competition wherein speed is a concern, you can go for pulse width modulation. If you go for pulse width modulation, you can have variable speed control and you can increase the speed of your motor. Your RPM will be more and your robot will reach the destination at a faster rate. We will be covering variable velocity concepts in the next stage of our training, right? Here we have focused on using motor with constant velocity, right? So usage of PWM or constant velocity depends on your application, right? So for most of the academic applications where speed is not a huge criteria, we go for constant velocity. In some competitions where speed is a huge factor, you will have to go for pulse width modulation for having the variable speeds or variable velocities. Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions? Okay. Now, with this understanding, I would like to propose some of the projects that you can explore. I'll also be showing you a couple of videos to show what is the scenario that is prevailing in the world as well as our country and state, so that you can use technology to make our life better. Okay. So first project that I'd like to propose is, so assume that this is the structure of C block, second floor. So this is our HOD's cabin. So in front of that HOD's cabin, you have a lab, then you have classrooms like this. So you can lay down tapes from HOD's cabin to each of the classrooms. Usually you may have seen this scenario wherein HOD wants to send some memo or circular to all the classrooms. So HOD will call an attender and then attender will take that circular to each and every classroom, and then the concerned faculty who's teaching class in that hour, so we'll read out the memo. Instead of sending the attender, we can use a robot. So HOD can call the robot and place it on top of robot. So of course, along with the actuators and the clips, and the robot can go to each of the classrooms, knock, wait, and then circulate the circular or message to each of the classrooms, and it can come back and stay in the position specified. Say suppose I have specified the robot position here, it will come back and stay. The second scenario is some parents come from rural background, villages and suburban areas. So they don't know where is HOD's cabin. They'll just come to second floor and they'll be standing near the staircase. If you have a robot which can communicate in their regional language, say Kannada, Telugu or English, whatever it is, if you have a speech to text conversion module, the parents can interact with the robot and robot can talk to the parents by using text to speech conversion. And then if the parents wish to meet HOD, the robot can give a message or make a call to HOD saying that some parents have come, would you like me to send to you or not? Then HOD says that yes, you can bring them to me. Then robot will give path to their to the parents, and parents can go and meet HOD. Okay, so these are few projects you can explore. Along with this, you might have seen it for yourself during CET counseling sessions and all. So many people come to our college, they'll be standing in in front of A block, B block, and C block. Many of them are mostly looking for information. So you can use a robot, intelligent robot, which can talk to these parents in their regional language and then guide them, give them information. So you can do many such projects. And when parents or students see that technology is showcased to them, the moment they enter our college, they'll also be very happy, and they'll also feel very happy about our college, and they'll appreciate such type of projects. Okay. So, and then some of the other practical applications are shown in these videos. So kindly go through these videos. So they are very beautiful. So real world applications of line follower robots. So this is a restaurant, which is called, obviously you can see, robot restaurant, wherein line follower robots are used. So the customers have to go and give the order, then order will be served by the robot. You can see the robot is moving in a specified path. So it is basically a line follower robot. You can see the black tape here. So the robot is following this black tape, and each of the robot is given with a number here. So this particular robot will go and stand in front of that table, and the customers seated in that table will take the order, right? If somebody comes and stands or touches it, it will stop. Once the customers take the food items, they can press on top of the robot head to indicate that it can move forward, and robot will move. So you can see this girl will touch the top of the robot, and the robot will move in that path specified. Okay, so this is another example of a robot in a restaurant. So slightly advanced and very interesting video. So this is in Shanghai, I believe. So a customer secures the table by using Hema app. So you can see each of the tables have certain numbers. So C2, C3, C4. This girl is sitting in C1. So she'll scan it and give the command. Then robot will carry the food to the table specified. So they also use RFIDs to locate customer seats. So there's a lot of technology involved in deploying robots in the real world applications. So they also use multiple sensors. If their battery is low, so they are smart enough to go and connect themselves to the charging station. Then you have a cleaning robot. So it will go to each of the tables, and the customers will give their used dishes, plates. So after collecting the dishes, it will go back for cleaning. So these two are the applications, particularly in the foreign countries. Our country is not lagging behind. So this is the example of humanoid robot used in a restaurant in our very own Shivamogga. So in Upahara Darshini in Shivamogga, they are already using humanoid robots for serving food to their customers. So again, you can see there is a black tape here. So it is basically a line follower robot. So going ahead, this will be the future. Robots will definitely come to many more restaurants. Robots will come to colleges. Robots will come to schools. And there's a huge market to capture. And if you are a robotic engineer, definitely you will be the one designing these robots. And the market is enormous. People get attracted to such type of technologies, and that can be one of the ways to attract customers, particularly in the situation we are in, right? Not only in Karnataka, as a country, we are focusing a lot on robotics and automation. Our central government has a lot of funding. They are helping a lot of institutions. There's a lot of funds to take in the field of robotics and automation. This is one institution which focuses on robotics and automation, All India Council for Robotics and Automation. Every 6 months or a year, they give away a lot of money for innovative projects. And this is one of our robots indigenously designed in India. So that is Mitra. This was developed by a company called Inventor Robotics located in Bangalore. And this will be the future, and our central government, state government, everybody is doing their bit to promote robotics in India. And as engineers, we expect you to come forward and embrace this technology going ahead. Okay. So that's it from my end. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat box. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat box. Please provide the feedback link clear. Okay. Shah, Rashil, definitely we will be sending the feedback link to your email ID, and we'll be sharing the same link in our Telegram group. So it'll be shared probably by the end of the day. Okay. So any questions? Would you like to have many more workshops like this in the future? We want your honest opinion. What are the other things you would like to see in our future workshops? Was this workshop useful, beneficial? Did it meet your expectations? Was it done in a systematic way? If you have any suggestions on how to, okay, Aishwarya is saying we want more sessions. Okay, definitely we'll schedule more sessions in our future workshops. Okay, our intention was to ensure that even the second sem or fourth sem students are able to understand the basics. I know some of you are pretty good with the fundamentals, so you probably would have felt a little slow in our pace at some stages, but our intention was to make sure that even the lower semester students can embrace this technology, and they can do a lot of projects and mini projects in the future. Yeah. So, okay, so we'll be sending the quiz and attendance link for today's session, and we'll also be sharing the feedback link. So kindly give feedback link once we look into your quiz answers, attendance status. We'll be releasing certificates in a couple of days time. Okay. So meanwhile, I request you to go through the videos that we have uploaded, and you can also start practicing by using the IDE tool that we have suggested. Atmel Studio, I've also shared the link for downloading that tool. And since you are in home, you can generate text file and test it on a tool called Proteus. So in the future session, we will have a dedicated session on how to use Proteus for simulating the code that we have written by uploading X file and simulating the same using Proteus tool. We'll be doing that in our next workshop in the near future. So my only request is, please do not stop here. Explore the possibilities of doing a variety of projects. Only when you do projects, you will be in touch with the concepts that we have discussed, and in the future you will be able to do much more complex projects, right? So the technologies that we hear nowadays, such as data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all these things can be embedded to robotics, and this field can embrace the inputs from artificial intelligence and IoT, and it can grow enormously in the days to come. Okay, so that's it. If you have any queries, you can feel free to contact us through Telegram group, or you can call us or email us. Okay, so thank you. Have a good day.